If I just try to engage, will she still move on? It's a confirmation. You never tried to engage Isaac. You engaged according to her. You never tried to reach out. You view her status, you give her the assumption that you haven't emotionally moved on. When you say she has already moved on, that was just weird. Then you haven't emotionally detached from Hannah, and she needs to have a feeling that you are still attached to her emotionally by you reaching out and thinking that you just attempted. She tells herself, I knew he would play this game. I knew I had the upper hand and I am in control of him because he is actually affected. Get out of your heads. Stop convincing yourself that you tried to reach out. You reached out. Stop convincing yourself that I never reached out. I just viewed her status. You confirmed her assumptions, her decisions, her feelings that maybe I made the right decision and Isaac is still attached to me. You see, Isaac, this isn't a game. Because if we just see the fact as it is, if you try to move on from someone, but you constantly view their status, watch their movements, what are you doing? If you want to move on from your ex, you still view their status. Maybe you reach out once in a while. What are you doing, Isaac? You are manifesting something, which is the hope of one day she will come back. You are not doing it consciously. It's a subconscious thought because of the brain relying on a specific pattern and you are acting on that pattern, but you will think you just view her status. But the fact is, you haven't moved on emotionally and psychologically. And now the psychological warfare is leading you to act so that you can get answers. That was just weird when she told me that she has already moved on. That is the psychological warfare that I'm trying to remove you guys from. You only need those questions to still hold on her, to still hope for her to come back in the near future. What are you doing? You are emotionally investing in her and she will run faster. She will never look back. At the end of the day, you are the problem and she is right. You are trying to fix something that doesn't really exist. When you lack the discipline, Isaac, the absence is broken. When you watch her status, the misery is ruined and she goes back to being certain. That new guy, Johnny, he is just a band-aid. He isn't a fix. Right now, I know she thinks that she has won. She is with someone new. She is posting pictures and she is showing the world how happy she is. And maybe you are sitting there letting it eat you alive, wondering how she moved on so fast. And let me tell you something, Isaac. She never moved on. She distracted herself from her own thoughts of regret. And she's not willing to face her own reflection of who she is. That new guy, he isn't actually special. He isn't different. He is not an upgrade. He is a band-aid, a quick fix, because she is too afraid to face her own emotions. This is when most men screw up. They think, oh, she is with someone new. She is with a new guy. I think I was the problem. She has already moved on. The new guy is better than me. Nope. She is not with a new guy because she has actually moved on. She is with the new guy because she wants to feel something that will distract her. And if we agree that she has actually entirely moved on and she is with a new guy, she wouldn't try so hard and flaunt her life on the social media to communicate to you that she has a perfect life and she is living an exciting, fulfilling life. The reality is, a rebound relationship is always predictable because they have the same pattern. They all start fast, They all burn hot and they all quickly crash down. Why? Because it was built on a foundation of avoidance. It was built on an assumption that maybe if I have this new guy, I can fix my feelings, so I am avoiding something. Rebound relationships, they're not actually built on a real thing. And you have to fully accept that when you're trying to deal with any lady in your life. They are actually built on an illusion and avoidance of my emotions and my feelings. And when the honeymoon actually fades away, we are now trying to understand things from a reality perspective and from logic. Nothing will ever make sense. What she thought she wants or she wanted or the guy was better, it was a distraction. Right now she thinks she made the right decision because that is what she is using to convince herself to move on. But I'm telling you today, Isaac, she is wrong. You are also wrong. You can't quickly move away from a relationship that you have built. You can't quickly walk away from a situation and end up in a different situation and expect things to turn out the right way or to turn out in the way that you are predicting. It's all an illusion, an assumption that is built on avoidance. That fantasy, it's a drug and a distraction that she needs for her to survive, but she is building a coping mechanism. Within few times and trying to move on with this new guy, she will find herself checking your status, wondering if you haven't reacted to communicate that you are actually affected and you are still affected. Wondering why she still feels this emptiness in her internal state of being, and maybe something is just off and nothing can make sense despite being with someone new. And Isaac, that is when regret sets in. Because while she was busy avoiding her emotions, while she was jumping into a new situation, Isaac, you were leveling up. And while she was running away from her thoughts, you were facing them head on. And when that new relationship collapses, because it will, she is going to remember the one man who stood firm, who was actually different, unique, the one man who didn't chase, who didn't react, who didn't show desperations. That is why, Isaac, you never compete with her rebound. You never communicate to her that you are better. You never act that you are actually affected. You just sit back and let time do the work. Because the men who win, they are the men who understand this one thing, that she is not actually replacing you. She is running away from herself. She expected you to break. She expected you to react, expected you to spiral, to lash out, to beg for answers. The late night texts, the desperate attempts to prove your worth. And if Isaac, you have done any of that, congratulations. You played right into her expectations, into her assumptions. That is where you fuck up, man. Nothing commands more respect than a man who refuses to be controlled by his emotions. When they see you crumble under the pressure, your emotions are dictating your behavior and you can't handle yourself. That is where the attraction fades quickly, instantly, and what she thought you were, you actually were. Her predictions were right. Women test men subconsciously because that is how women are wired. That is how they operate, on feelings, emotions, in testing. And her posts on her status, it's all a test to see if you will quickly break and reach out on her, to see if you will actually text her. If you do, you just failed her subconscious test. You are weak, you are soul of value, and she can do better. It's an illusion, she's wrong, but that assumption, it's something she needs for her to live consistently on that illusion that doesn't exist. Be safe, take care, and let's have peace.